AOVs essentially allow us to break apart an image into its multiple components. And so I can break apart an image into the highlights, into shadows, into specular highlighting, reflections. I can do what's called an albedo, which is going to be like the flat color. I can do diffuse shadows, diffuse highlights, diffuse, just straight diffuse color. And it gives us a really wonderful level of control over the image itself, okay? We basically can break apart these images from their original EXR file and put them back together inside of After Effects. And it, again, gives us control over the color grading and general look of the image, all right? So that's what an AOV is. Now, what AOVs to use? So by default, you're going to have a beauty AOV. And so this is going to give you an alpha, which is what the A stands for. And then the CL, or CI, I'm sorry, is basically going to be kind of a number of different default channels that come with the beauty. So I believe it comes with like a diffuse, a specular, and a couple others, but those are going to be kind of buried in here, okay? Generally what I will do is I have kind of a range of different AOVs that I like to use. And so I will add in these channels into the beauty. And so generally I'm going to add in something like albedo. And then I'll add in like an emissive, a direct diffuse, direct specular, basically everything down to subsurface. And I'll just select all of these. So what I can do is tack these on to that initial beauty image that's going to be coming out. So when I crack open that EXR in After Effects, it gives me like basically every single one of these channels that I can kind of shuffle out into their own layer. I do not select the beauty here for one of two reasons. One, you already have a beauty. And when I say beauty, this is going to be basically the image that we see right here. This is considered a beauty. This is everything added together. This is your shadows, highlights, specular, anything that we needed. This is like your most beautiful, pretty image ever. Okay? So that's the beauty. So that's why I don't have that in. The other reason is because I run into issues sometimes adding this beauty in as a separate AOV. Sometimes Maya goes, I don't know what a beauty display type is, even though it's sitting right there. And so I just don't add it in, and it renders out perfectly fine without it. Okay? That happens like maybe 50% of the time. I think it's a weird like render man issue. Do you have a question?
And when adding stuff in, it goes from albedo to where does it stop?
I personally just go down to subsurface, but you don't have to. I do this just because I kind of play around with these and I know what they do, but there are tons of these things you can go in and add in. So a crap ton of them. All right, so with beauty selected, all these selected, I'm gonna click on this button, and you'll see that it kind of drops them over into the stack with beauty. Now, if you don't select beauty before you click on that button, it is going to create about 13 different display types, which means that when you render this out, it's not going to be one nice, neat little image. It's going to be like 13 different images, and each one of those you're going to have to shuffle out their individual AOVs. For the sake of your hard drive space, don't do that. So you're going to have like, again, 13 different 40 megabyte sized images. That takes up a lot of space versus one. So saves a lot of space. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So not really much to talk about in here. We do have a denoise option. I've had mixed results with denoise. So what that's gonna do is that basically gives you a secondary image after the initial run through of batch rendering, and it'll clean up any extra noise that it detects in the batch render. It's really, really useful when it works, but I've had kind of mixed results with it actually working well, and so I kind of just don't worry about it, and I can clean it up in After Effects with a removed grain, or I just up my sampling to where it kind of removes it anyway. All right, but that's what denoise is. If you do want to give it a shot and try it out, you click denoise, and then since we're doing multiple frames, we're going to change mode from single frame to cross frame. Okay? You with me? All right. So when you batch render, you're actually going to see a bunch of extra denoise functions that actually are listed at the bottom of the job stack. And so what happens is once it's finished with rendering out all the images, then it's going to go into denoise mode, and it's going to denoise every single one of those images. And so it's really quick actually, but you know, it's just adding an extra image in there. Okay? All right. All right. One thing I always make sure to check is the path this is going to render into. Now, I did not set up a place for this to render. I don't have a project folder. So right now it thinks it's going to be going into my film project folder with an untitled name. So I need to fix all that really quick. Otherwise, I'm going to get a bunch of images in a folder I don't want in. So make sure we go ahead and do our project folder. I'm going to go ahead and save this into that folder. Okay. Click save. Close out of settings, open it back up. You'll see that this is actually changes to reflect the new name of the file, and then also the location that we're rendering it to. Okay. You want to double check and make sure that this is proper, okay? If it's not, it's going to cause issues.